Hey guys, in the last video I talked to you guys about discrete random variables. And I showed you how to calculate some of the basic probabilities and how to find the average. And now, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to find the standard deviation. So first, let's do a little recap. Let X represent the amount of child tickets someone purchases to a movie. So here I have a probability distribution. Once again, this is just going to tell you how the probability is being distributed to each one of these values that X takes on. In other words, 20% of the time, a person is going to purchase no child tickets. 40% of the time, they're going to purchase one child ticket. 30% of the time, they're going to purchase two children tickets, and so on. So, the question says, how many children tickets do we expect a person to purchase? Well, if you recall, in order to find the expected value, all we have to do is take every X and then multiply it by its probability. Once we're done doing that to each one of them, we're just going to add them up. Remember, that's a summation sign. So summation. You're going to sum those values up. So let's do that. Now, I'm going to take 0 times 0.2 plus 1 times 0.4 plus 2 times 0.3 plus 3 times 0.1. And I'm going to see that that equals 0 plus 0.4 plus 0.6 plus 0.3, which equals 1.3. Now, this is very important in order for us to find the standard deviation. Now, remember what a standard deviation is. It just tells you how spread out the numbers are. The larger the standard deviation, the more spread out it is. So in order to find the standard deviation, first I'm going to start with finding the standard deviation squared, which is called the variance. So I'm going to take each number, 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then I'm going to subtract it from the average that we just found. I'm going to square that number and then times it by the probability. When done, you guessed it, I'm going to add them. And that's what we call our variance of X, or the standard deviation squared. So let's see what this looks like. 0 minus 1.3 squared, and then we go back and we take a look at what the probability is for 0, which is 0.2. We do this again with the next number, which is 1. 1 minus 0.3 squared times, I'll highlight it this time, 0.4. We do it again, 2 minus 1.3 squared times 0.3, and then 3 minus 1.3 squared times 0.1. Well, I already did the calculations for you. Once we're done doing all of this and adding it up, the variance of X is equal to 0.81, and the standard deviation of X is equal to 0.9, the square root of 0.81. And that's how you find the standard deviation of the children tickets purchased. Let's try one more example. In this example that I created, I just said, let X represent the number of flights a person takes in the month of December. And once again, here is your probability distribution table. And I said either a person is classified as taking 0 flights, 1 flight, 2 flight, or 3 or more. I decided to put 3 or more together. And the probabilities that go with them are right below. So we can't just add them up and divide by 4 to find the average, because the probabilities are all different. So let's find the expected number of flights a person would take in December. So the question says, how many flights do we expect a person to take? So once again, to find the expected value, or mu, you're going to take 0 times 0.2 plus 1 times 0.2 plus 2 times 0.3 plus 3 times 0.3. That E of X, which is also mu of X, is equal to 0 plus 0.2 plus 0.6 plus 0.9, which is 1.7. How do we find this standard deviation? Well, the standard deviation, first let's try to find the variance of x, which is the standard deviation squared. You could find that by taking each number here, subtracting it from the average that you just found, and timesing it by its probability. So the probability of 0 is 0.2. 1 minus 1.7 squared times 0.2. 2 minus 1.7 squared times 0.3, because that's the probability. And then 3 minus 1.7 squared times 0.3. So in other words, x minus mu of x squared times the probability, then you sum it. After we sum this, and I did this for you guys already, you're going to get the variance of x to be 1.21. So the standard deviation of x is equal to the square root of 1.21, and that's just equal to 1.1. So that's how we find the standard deviation. In the next video, I'm going to have two discrete random variables that are independent from one another, and I'm going to teach you guys how to add and subtract them. And I'm also going to teach you something special about the standard deviations. So tune in to the next video.